Hey, beautiful Gigi's. Hello, hello, hello. Girl talk. Hey, Sandy. Beautiful. This is for all the beautiful Gigi's. That does mean anything to me, to me. Beautiful. Beautiful. Right, Cindy? Fun. To me, like when you run red light. Hey, girls. This is for all the beautiful Gigi's. All the beautiful Gigi's in the Gigi land. Hey, beautiful. Hey, Selena. Hey, Dawn. I had to come on with some theme music tonight, girls, because we're so beautiful. Hi, Monica. We are so beautiful, right? Beautiful Gigi's. This is going out to all of you girls tonight. Hey, Elizabeth. Hello, hello, hello. So we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. This content, this topic, this girl talk is about to be off the chain. So remember, this is an open Q&A session, so you guys can ask as many questions as you like, because this is what it's for, is to answer your questions and to get insight into how to date in the 21st century God's way, including God in your dating. All right, Mariah, you got to go away. All right, girls, so that was our theme music for tonight. Beautiful Gigi's all over the world. Oh, hey, Carlita, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know we're going to have a lot more girls jump on, but we're going to go ahead and get started because we have a lot of content to cover for tonight. And don't let me forget, girls, I got a special announcement because I'm doing some giveaways at godlygirlsglam.com. You know, I love to give stuff away, right? So we're going to do some giveaways, and I'm excited to be able to give some stuff away for some people who order some stuff tonight. So godlygirlsglam.com. For anybody that's on tonight that's in our Facebook group but is not an official Gigi. Official Gigi means you registered on our godlygirlsclub.com webpage. So you would need to go to godlygirlsclub.com and hit membership. It's free. It's always going to be free. And you can click that and you can join our official membership in order to get our emails and get all of our events and updates on retreats and everything that we have going on. Listen, the team and I, the dream team and I are busy, busy, busy. We are planning so much stuff. So it's so exciting because we have so much coming your way, girls. Thank you, Vanjie, godlygirlsclub.com. So yeah, if you're not official, make sure you click that link and you get official so you can really stay connected. We have thousands and thousands of Gigi's all over the world. We are international. We are global. Is this my first time going live in here? For real, since MegaFest? I think it is. What? Okay. So I'm so excited tonight. This topic is absolutely awesome. So who here tonight wants to ditch the list? Or how many can own, I want to ditch the list, Rebecca, but I'm scared to ditch the list? Who can own that tonight? Trina, you're so excited. Yay! Right? Who is ready to ditch the list? And who's ready, like excited to ditch the list and figure out a different way to do this? Or can some of you admit, like, I'm a little scared to ditch the list, Rebecca? Like, what does that mean? Does that mean I don't have any standards? Does that mean that I will just date anyone? Does it mean I just have to settle for something? Does it mean that God's going to give me some loser and I have to be happy with it? Oh, Rebecca, please don't be saying that. So how many of you can admit, okay, I'm excited to ditch the list because what I've been doing isn't working? Or how many of you can say scared? Can you comment scared? If you're scared to ditch your list, if you're honestly like, I don't want to do it. I'm scared to ditch the list. How many people are scared? Let's see. Carlita says, I'm scared because I did it wrong the first time. So you picked wrong the first time. Trina says, raising my hand, scared. Sandy says, excited but nervous. Soya says, I'm excited and scared. Okay, you're a little bit of both. So tonight we're going to talk about what does this really mean, because this is one of those questions that I get so often. Mariah's still over here trying to sing to us, girls. So so often, Kanika says, I'm ready, not scared. Me. Awesome. So this is, you're excited and scared. I'm excited, scared, right, Selena? So I find that this subject, girls, is not even 50-50. I think everyone struggles with this, if we're really honest, to a certain extent, because ditching your list is synonymous with surrender. I talk about surrender all the time, but I get this question a lot because it's kind of like, what does it look like? How do you do it? What does it really mean? In a really practical way, what does this mean? And how do you apply this to dating? How do you actually do this when it comes to dating? So we're going to cover that tonight, and we're also going to cover how to date, including God in the process. Okay, how to include God in your dating process. So first of all, let's start off by talking about, I know we have a lot of new Gigi's in here, girls. So some of you have been with me for a long time. You know, I've covered the definitions of dating and courting and engagement, the 4 stages of a relationship: dating, courting, engagement, marriage. Dating, courting, engagement, marriage. Those of you who have been with me a long time, you know we've covered that with several calls and videos and all that stuff. But for those of you who are brand new, those are my firm stages of a healthy relationship, that you progress through those stages. And each of those stages, dating, courting, engagement, and marriage, have their own, I was hoping that wasn't a bug in my hair, have their own guidelines and boundaries, girls. So literally, understanding and setting standards and expectations and requirements for these men to meet certain standards kind of turns the table on the men. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to be out here dating willy-nilly, anything goes. You need to be setting established boundaries and levels of respect and understanding of what is required in order to be in your world. So dating is the process of vetting and qualifying men for exclusivity and eventually marriage. Dating is vetting and qualifying men for the purpose of exclusivity and marriage. So what does that mean? So in the dating phase, Miss Rebecca, do you think that I should be dating more than one person? Most definitely. You should be dating more than one person, because this is not a commitment phase. This is not where you're mutually exclusive, mutually committed to each other. There's no commitment. You should not be putting all your eggs in a basket because you really, really like him, because until he shuts it down, girls, that's not a relationship. You guys are pretty much friends who are getting to know each other. You're going out, you're having experiences, you're getting to know each other, you're collecting information, you're doing discovery to determine if this is an individual that you even want to really get to know any further, or if he has the qualities that would make him a good husband. So that's dating. So I want to get that clear really quickly, because that's what we're talking about tonight. So when we talk about ditch the list, ditching the list means, and I wrote about it in my book. Where's my book? For those of you who don't have the book, right? Wrote about it in the book. We talked about blessing blockers, okay? Blessing blockers in the book. Blessing blockers are your list. Whenever you hear me talk about blessing blockers, it's your list that I'm talking about. And we know what that means, right? We're talking about that wish list a mile long of the things that you think you have to have in a man, or the things that you're saying are absolute deal breakers and you will not deal with it and you cannot deal with it. But over time, if we're really honest, girls, right, that stuff becomes like this laundry list of things that has more to do with your past than with the current or with your future. So it has to do with these disappointing experiences you've had. Like Carlita mentioned, she chose wrong. So she's scared. So what do you do when you're afraid of repeating mistakes? You try to institute analogy, analysis, logic, theories to say this will protect me from going through that again. So I'm not going to date a man less than 5'9" because short men have a Napoleon complex and he had a major, insecurity and he took it out on me. I will not date short men. That's an example. I will not date men with children because I dated that guy with kids and he never had time for me. I don't want to come second. I want attention and time and quality time with the man I'm interested in. I don't want to date men with children. Now, I don't have any children, so I don't want to date a man with children. Well, listen, there's no cookie cutter answer to this because, listen, God may have the man of your dreams wrapped up in a father who already has one child, but as long as you keep saying, I will not marry a man with children, you're blocking that blessing from coming because you're with your mouth, you're saying, I'm not ready. You're saying, no man with kids. But the whole time God could have a man for you who absolutely is ready to rock your world, love you from the bottom to the top, honey, drink your dirty bath water, pay your bills, buy you a house, put a big rock on your finger and make you a missus. And in the meantime, you're blocking it because you just haven't experienced that before and you haven't met that certain circumstance to open up your mind to understand that your limited thinking, your very limited experiences are blocking your blessings. And I want you to listen to me for a minute. I didn't used to think that my words would block the very things that God had for me. Right, Nicole, you will talk yourself right out of your blessing or delay your blessing. Exactly. So I used to think, oh, well, just because I'm saying he's got to be 6'2", God knows if he's 6'1" and he's everything else, God will still send him. No, ma'am. Let me tell you how this works. And this is the difference between the people love to use the scripture, write the vision and make it plain, right? Isn't that the scripture we love to use, girls, for how we make these lists and we need to be so specific? Right? Hey, Patrice, we need to be so specific. Write it out, girl. You need to be detailed. Ask God for exactly what you want, honey. Order up, right? Like we're putting in our order for this perfect man that God's making in a lab for you. And you're saying it can't be this and it can't be that. And the older you get, that list just gets longer and longer and longer because you're getting older. So you're having more experiences and you're having more disappointments and you're having more rejection and you're having all kinds of situations that now the list gets longer and longer. And what you're doing is backing yourself into a corner to say nobody is going to fit what you're looking for. You're looking for Mr. Perfect. There are no perfect men. You're not perfect. And so the more detailed, and I'm here tonight to kind of wake you up a little bit and recognize something. That one, I don't care how detailed you could get. You could write this stuff out until the paper rolled out across the floor. You could start writing a list of everything you feel it's got to be. And you could just keep on writing and keep on writing through the end of the year. Keep on writing through Christmas. Keep adding stuff. And let me tell you something. You still won't have enough. You still will have the wrong things on that list out of pure ignorance because there's just so much you do not know about yourself. Here's an explanation for that, right? We only know what we've experienced. So until a man, and I'm a firm believer in this, most women have not ever been loved the way that your husband that God has for you is going to love you. So there's no way you can compare these knuckleheads, girls, to the man that God has for you. So you're making a list based on the knuckleheads and based on the losers and based on the cheaters and based on the men who were not honorable and based on the men who were not on your level and based on the men who were not for you based on the fraudulent, sabotaging little devils that come in to steal, kill, and destroy us. So you're making a list based on the little enemies you're not really making a list about love. You're not making a list about abundant love of what God really has for you. What you're really making a list on is everything you've been through that wasn't that. That wasn't sent by God. That wasn't your blessing. That wasn't your husband. So at the end of the day, you're focused on all the wrong things. All your focus is going towards guarding your heart, guarding your life from not going through this stuff ever again. So you start looking for the opposite of what those men were. But the truth is there's always a line of truth. There's always a line. Even if there was just a few things about him that attracted you to that man that wasn't the one. Listen, there's something about him that does it for you. There was something about him that you really liked. And there's going to be some things about your future husband that remind you of those men because that's your thing. There's some things about them they're going to have in common. So you can't turn the total opposite direction because you don't know. But what we do is now we get more detailed. We're just like, order up, God, order up. Listen, you got to get it right this time because maybe I just wasn't detailed enough. Maybe I just didn't let God know. How did you send him? Wait, I got to get more detail. So you start adding more detail to your list. And listen, here's the power of manifestation. Whatever you keep asking God for, he's going to keep coming. But it doesn't mean it's love. Because what we tend to do, and what women don't like to own up to this about, is we are literally looking for lust, not love. What do you mean, Rebecca? I mean, you're looking for lust, not love, because lust is all about the eye. It's all about how it makes you feel. Lust is about fulfilling your flesh, fulfilling the desires of your eyes and your flesh. So at the end of the day, he needs to be 6'2", and I love a good smelling man, and I love a man with straight teeth, and he's got to have a pretty smile. And you know what? He needs to make 6 figures. So it's all about the ego, and it's all about you and fulfilling your image and your PR for your life so you can impress your friends and impress your family, right? We love a little eye candy, right? And everybody loves a little eye candy. But at the end of the day, you can keep putting this before God and you'll keep manifesting. I don't know about y'all, but I manifested the 6'2". I manifested the businessman. I manifested the athlete. I kept manifesting whatever I would focus on out of the predominance of my heart and the predominance of my desire. God will answer it. If you keep saying, gimme, 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 he's going to take his hands off of it because the creative spirit inside of you is going to manifest that very thing. But the catch is it has nothing to do with love because love isn't even at the top of your list when you're making these lists. Your list should simply have one word on it. Love. Love. That's it. If you began to focus on soulmate love, if you began to focus on attracting the man that's going to love your socks off, honey, and if you picture it in your head, it's a blur. You don't know what he looks like. You don't know what how tall he is, what he drives. You're not going to know any of that. All you're going to know is he's going to love you to pieces. He is going to love you like no man's ever loved you before. He's going to treat you like a queen because when you just say love, it covers everything. Because God is love and he's in that. He's in love. So if you just ask God for love, you're covering everything. Don't make me get started tonight, girls. You're covering the way God loves you. You're covering provision. You're covering everything that is required of a man and that you need is covered in that one word. Because simultaneously, when you say, all I need is love, all you're saying is, I need God. I need God. I need God in that man. I need an expression of God through a man back to me to love me the way God loves me. And so if you'll just take your hands off of it, if you'll just submit it and surrender it to God, because if you're really honest, girls, isn't that list all about fear? Isn't that list motivated by doubt and fear? If you're really honest, girls, it's saying, I just don't want what I had before. And you know what? I can't leave it up to chance. I'm in control of this. Well, honey, let me tell you something. I'm going to give you a little story. I tell my clients this all the time. I got it in my mind one year that I was supposed to be married to a man who looked like Rick Fox. Girls, look, I just had a little crush on Rick Fox. I'm just going to be honest. Had a little crush on Rick Fox. And I would daydream about Rick Fox, and I was thinking about Rick Fox. I'm like, oh, my husband's going to look like Rick Fox. I just know it. And I was doing online dating, and lo and behold, within about 30 to 60 days of me just really, really saying, I'm going to marry a man that looks like Rick Fox, I manifested that man. Here he comes, 6'5", curly hair. I just knew that man was going to be my husband because he had manifested out of the predominance of my desires, because we are creative spirits. You can manifest whatever you put your mind to. That's the scary part. So out of that list, there's some predominant things that you tend to focus on. And most of the time that has to do with the physical. So it's about how he looks. It's about how he smells. It's about that smile. It's about what he drives. It's about what he does for work. It's about how much money he makes. It's about these materialistic physical things, the things you can touch, but it has nothing to do with the spiritual and nothing to do with God. And so at the end of the day, you'll manifest a different man. It's just the same body in a different person over and over again because you're trying to figure it out, but you keep manifesting the very thing that you're focusing on because you're not focusing on love. So I met the Rick Fox lookalike. And I just swore, girls, we started dating. I shut it down quick. I was like, we in a relationship because I just know he's got to be the one because I dreamed of this. I manifested this. I prayed for this. This has got to be the man of God. This has got to be the one for me. And I'm like, ooh, it's just got to be him. And the longer I dated him, the more I was like, this ain't it. He looked like Rick Fox, but that's about where it ends. This man and I don't have anything in common. He ain't got the Holy Spirit inside of him. I can't talk to him about nothing spiritual. We can't relate to each other. I'm like, I don't even like this dude like this. What was I thinking? Exactly, Rolanda, nothing to build your foundation on. And at the end of the day, all I had done was manifest the very thing that I had been meditating on, the predominance of your thoughts, which is prayer, and the visualization, daydreaming, seeing myself with the Rick Fox lookalike, right? And now here he appears. And women tell God, oh, Rebecca, I met him. He's got to be the one. Oh, my God. He's just like I imagined. He's this. And they've been on one date, and he's got to be the one. And I'm like, girl, look, first of all, you can't determine if someone's the one on the first date. You may feel excited. You may really like him, but committing your whole life to someone, you know that in one date? No, ma'am. You don't know that in one date. You just really in lust. Really in like with somebody. Committing your whole life to someone requires a vetting and qualifying process because this here ain't easy, boo. I can't be with just anybody. Girls, these lights is killing me in the studio. I can't be with you can't be, let me look right in the mirror. You can't be with anybody. You can't be with just anybody. Your destiny is tied to whoever you commit yourself to. Your divine destiny is linked to the man that you commit yourself to. I'm going to say it one more time. Your divine destiny is linked to the man that you choose. And it's a choice. But you better make sure it's a God choice, because if you make the wrong choice, your life can go off on a tangent and you will be lost somewhere down the road looking back like, how in the world did I get here? God, rescue me, save me. I need help. I'm sorry. I've made a wrong decision. This was not of you. I was in my flesh. This is what I wanted. Because how are you going to know it's God? By the fruit. If it does not increase love, peace, purpose, wealth, and health in your life, it is not of God. It's not of God. And I don't care how many excuses you make for these knuckleheads, and I don't care how fine he is. At the end of the day, if he is not increasing purpose, health, wealth, joy, peace, and love in your life, he is not of God. It has to bear fruit. That's right, Carrie. So, you've made this list, and so you keep getting these counterfeit dudes. Who can own that? Who's going to own that tonight? You keep attracting counterfeits. It's like, oh, like the little man in the commercial. Oh, almost had it. Almost had it. Right? Oh, he's got to be it. Oh, God, he's not it. Why do I keep getting these dudes that are not? And listen, I dated some really great guys. Really great guys. Had it together. Handsome men, great guys. It still wasn't Carrie Pope. Why? Why wasn't it Carrie Pope? Why weren't these dudes Carrie Pope? I'll tell you why. Because Rebecca thought she was in control, and Rebecca didn't want to give up control, and Rebecca didn't want to surrender it to God. Every time I asked God, where's my husband? God would tell me, you're not ready. And I got so frustrated with that over the years, but I'm stubborn. How many can own to being stubborn? How many can own to saying, I want it my way? I want it my way. How many can own that tonight? That I want it my way. I'm scared to just surrender this to God. I don't know what he's going to give me, right? So every time I'd ask God, oh, where's he at? Where's he at? You're not ready. And I got so tired of hearing that I finally said, what do I have to do? Well, that began a process in my life to prepare me for my husband. God turned me into a wife. Many of you want to be a wife, but you're not a wife right now. You don't even know how to surrender to God. How are you going to submit and surrender and be vulnerable to love and to the man that God has for you? You surrender and submit yourself one to another. You and your husband. You're both submitted to God, but you submit to each other. How are you going to submit to love and the love you're saying you desire, but you don't even know how to surrender it to God? You don't even know how to surrender your spirit to God to give you peace. Surrender your spirit to God to get healed. Surrender your spirit to God to walk in your purpose. Surrender your spirit to God to be healthy. Surrender your spirit to God to have your wealth and your money right. You are resisting God every turn, but yet you want a man. And God's saying, you're not ready. Because what he has for you is a man that fits the you as potential. The you that is walking in power and purpose. The man that is literally going to be a helpmeet and meet you right there where you are in your purpose. Now you run together. Your purpose partners. You lock arms. And now you run this race together. But if you're not running your race, how do you know who's a fit for you? How? I'll never forget, and I get so many clients like this. It's like an open playing field. It's kind of like, what is it that you really need in a man? And it's like the most basic, longest list you've ever seen, but it's like the most basic things because they don't know who they are. They don't know who they are. So you're open to this. You're open to that. You think you have this long list of requirements, but the truth is it has nothing to do with God. So at the end of the day, because you don't know who you are and you don't know your divine identity and you don't know your divine destiny, you are open to just explore whatever. And so at the end of the day, you entertain some clowns who turn around and hurt you and reject you and leave you bruised because you entertain some foolishness that had nothing to do with your true identity and your destiny. But then you want to be mad at God. and say, God, oh, now you're trying to control everything because you got hurt, but it wasn't God to begin with. He didn't do it to you. You did it. If you would have got still enough and quiet enough and patient enough and surrendered enough to just allow God's divine flow to flow in your life, everything is flowing to you effortlessly. The default in your life, y'all gonna make me preach. The default in your life is divine flow. The default in your life is abundant life. The only thing getting in the way of that flow in your life is you. You are a divine entity. You are a spirit creature. You are a little piece of God right here on earth. And because you don't know who you are and you have no idea of your power, you're sitting here and you're dealing with things that are so beneath you because you don't realize that you're a divine spirit. You've never tapped into it. You stay so distracted with the craziness, distracted with the abuse, distracted with the lack of money, distracted with your kids, distracted with the knucklehead, distracted with your job, distracted by all these things around you that you never step into who you really are, that you have the power to speak and create your reality, that you have the power inside of you to walk in abundance, that everything inside of you is an expression of God, and God is everything. He is abundant. There's no lack in God. And so as a little piece of God, this is who you are on earth. You're a little piece of God right here on earth. And if you would just tap in to your divinity, and if you would just tap in to your spiritual nature to understand that you are an expression of God on this earth, all of a sudden, honey, you would walk in your power, you would walk in your anointing, you would walk in your gifts, you would be able to manifest anything you put your hands to, anything you put your mouth to. Honey, listen, I have to be careful about what I say. Careful. Because once you come into the knowledge of your power, now when you say things, it puts things in motion to accomplish that very thing that I've just said for it to manifest. So you got to be careful what you say. Careful how you talk to yourself. Careful how you talk to people. I'm not even going to go there because it freaks me out sometimes. But listen, identity and seeking God is the answer. So many of my clients that first work with me, stop dating. Just stop. Stop dating. Dating is not the answer. Seeking God, healing, purpose, loving yourself, getting yourself right, getting yourself at peace, getting yourself in a position to hear and use your discernment before you ever start dating is crucial. Crucial. Most of y'all don't even need a man. You need God. God's got the man. The man's just going to come. You don't need a matchmaker. You may need my healing class. You may need to learn how to date, but you don't need a matchmaker because God is the ultimate matchmaker. God is the one who brings true love. I don't care who it is, who introduces you, how you meet them. It's God. Love is God. God is love. Period. Period. So we've established that we write these lists because we're afraid. We established that we create these lists trying to protect ourselves from further damage and further disappointment, right? Yes and amen. So at the end of the day, ditching the list means freedom. Hi, Melva. Ditching the list means surrender. Ditching the list means trusting God. Ditching the list means I trust you, God, that you have the most perfect man for me. And I don't know what exactly it's going to be, but I trust you. I trust you. Girl, I got this little hair stuff. I trust you. So how does that look in real life? Let's talk about practical real life stuff, okay? How this looks in real life, give me some examples, girls, of some things that are on your list. Like, let's just be real, okay? Be real with me tonight. What are some of the things, and I don't want your little nice, prissy answers that are politically correct. I want to know those things that are for real, for real. When you're like, no, he cannot be shorter than 5'10", That's the stuff I want to hear. I want you to, in the comments, to give me some of the things. Okay, Christian, Kanika, that's fair. That's fair because that's about faith. Saved, relationship with God. Okay, that's wonderful. Ambitious, educated, taller than me. Jennifer's keeping it real tonight. Jennifer want a boss who is really handsome and good looking. Alicia says great in bed, kind, loyal, faithful. He needs to be able to lead me, educated. I hear you. Keep going. Keep going. What else you got? Don't smoke pot. That's a good one, Kanika. Good job with benefits in a 401k. Educated. No kids. Amen. Right? You're saying all the things. So listen, keep going. What else you got? Carrie says ambitious, wealthy, and loves God. All right. Awesome. Has goals. Wonderful. Strong-minded. Yep. Ambitious. Yep. Over 6 feet. Yep. You're keeping it real. This is some of the stuff. No drugs. Good with kids. Not on the down low. Wonderful. Nice car. Renee's being honest, right? Funny. Good. Love me unconditionally and love God. Loves God, spiritual, not so religious. Go get her, self-sufficient, tall, handsome, family oriented. All right, Patrice. Ambitious, educated, financially stable, saved, kind, leader, giver, tall, physically fit, has goals, a good leader. These are all great. Wonderful. This all sounds wonderful. Who doesn't want this stuff, right? I mean, yeah, it's logical. Right? Isn't it logical, girls, that we should be able to ask for these things? Wait. She says 6'3". Selena says trust, love, 6'3", ambitious, wealthy, respectful, spiritual. Okay, honey, she's being real. 5'11" and up, gorgeous. You're keeping it real. You girls are keeping it real. Respect me, not 10 years younger than me. Awesome. Can't be over 40. Go get her boss. Okay, so these are your real lists. Y'all keeping it real tonight. I'm proud of you. I'm really, really proud of you. You're keeping it real. So, oh, wait. Renee said, oh, and fit, a 6-pack, right? Okay, so here's the thing. For these lists that you have, where the rubber meets the road is this. So much of the things you have on your list the man God has for you is not going to fit those things. It's just not. I'm just being honest. Because, first of all, she said Morris Chestnut, but not married. The reality is God tends to wrap your blessing in things that are a little different than what you typically want. What does that mean, Rebecca? What it means is you're going to be prettier than the man. We are the fairer sex. Literally. All these... Look, I wrote in the book, and I know some of y'all read the book, where I talk about the stats on education, height, race, all of the above, right? So at the end of the day, God doesn't make a bunch of pretty men. God makes a bunch of pretty women. He makes drop dead gorgeous women, and the men are okay. They're average. Most men are average. Most men are less than 6 foot tall. Most men have a little tummy. Most men are not living in the gym because they're working hard to provide for their families and take care of their mamas and take care of their kids. Most men look normal. Sweetie, one of the things I want to get through to you girls tonight is that if you'll open your heart up to realize you are the catch, you are the precious, beautiful gem that he wants to worship at your feet and say, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Those are the men who are going to treat you like an absolute queen and give you everything you desire. It's not the 6'3" gorgeous, stuck on themselves in the mirror more than you, because he's the hot commodity and he's got 10 other women trying to get with him. So he's looking at you like you're average Annie and treating you like you're average Annie, right? Because he's dating models and got these women throwing themselves at him because he's 1% or less of the population and he knows it. I'm just keeping it real, right? So they're players and they're stringing you along and they're saying the right things and you think this is going somewhere and you think you're so special and this is half the time how we get so hurt. He hot on himself. Exactly. So at the end of the day, we start backing ourselves into this corner because what we're doing is saying it needs to look like this, be like that. And at the end of the day, that's such a small pop. And especially if you speak race, if you say, oh, he's got to be black and 6'3" or 6'2" and have a bachelor's degree or or higher, honey, you're talking about such a slim, tiny little piece of the demographic of men. And then you got to take out the married ones and the gay ones and the ones in prison and the ones who just don't even want you. Because that's the other part. Half the time, these men that you're wanting don't want you. Right? So here's how, and the importance of ditching your list. Ditching your list makes room for love. Makes room for love because it's opening yourself up for what you don't know. And what you don't know is a new experience to give you something so different than what you've had before. And that's why you can't describe it. That's why right now okay, two things. I said I'd never marry a pastor. I know you girls have heard me say that over and over. And that's why God was always telling me I wasn't ready. Because I swore I'd never marry a pastor. If I had met Mr. Pope 6 months earlier than when I met him, I would have rejected him. I would have rejected Mr. Pope. He was a pastor. And he lived in the country. And I would have been like, what do we have in common? Wait, no. First of all, I'm really not trying to be a first lady. No, ma'am. I'm not. Okay? I'm a businesswoman because I had not accepted the calling on my own life. I had not accepted my divine identity and my purpose. I was running like gangbusters from that, girls. I wasn't owning that. So how could I recognize him as my soulmate if I wasn't even owning who I am? I was running from that. So then I'm saying, no pastors, no pastors. Then I'm saying, God, what do I have to do to be ready? And then he starts taking me through a surrendering process, which is where the Heal to Love, course comes from, about healing and forgiveness and surrendering and self-love. And so now I just drop that list and I ditch it. I just throw it. I'm like, I'm done. Everything I've done has not worked. I'm done. Let's give God a try because obviously I can't keep doing it my way. I'm not getting it right. So I surrender everything. Thank you, Carrie. I surrender everything, give it all to God. And I estimate it was about 67 days after I completely surrendered and began really embracing my purpose, embracing my calling, and embracing my true identity. I met Mr. Pope. 67 days. I met Mr. Pope. So what it means is God has a blessing with your name on it. He's got a love story with your name on it. He's got this, I felt like when I met Carrie, God had been holding him over here for me, waiting for me. He was my blessing and God had him over here just waiting. My blessing was held up and just waiting for me to be ready. And as it came time for that appointed time for me to meet him, God turned up the heat on me to get me to surrender and be ready. Some of you who are going through hell right now are going through hell to get you to surrender, to get you to submit and give up. Just give up. It's not working. That's right, Tatanisha. It's not working. So he's trying, if you're disobedient long enough, right? That's a word in and of itself that would preach. If you're disobedient long enough, God will create circumstances to create pressure to bring about the very thing you're asking him to do and that you're wanting from God. If you're asking for love, if you're asking for help, you're asking for peace, God creates the situations and starts turning up the heat on you to create the right set of ingredients and circumstances to bring forth your purpose, to bring forth the love, to bring forth the surrender, to bring forth your abundant life. But you got to get so sick and tired of where you're at that you're willing to make that choice, that you're willing to surrender it. It's really up to you. And I'm saying, does it really have to get that bad, girls? Or can you just make a choice? Can you just say, I humble myself? God, I don't need you to humble me anymore. I humble myself. I give my life to you because I'm recognizing, because if I look at Rebecca Lynn Pope's life, wait a minute, God did it, right? He did it. Hold up. I'm a walking, talking testimony of what God will do with your life if you give it to him, if you surrender and you humble yourself and you say, not my way, but your will be done, God, and take my life and do with it as you please. Terry says, I'm so sick and tired of this current place I'm in. It shouldn't have to get that bad. It's just human nature. We're stubborn. We're stubborn, girls. So one of the things I talk about on MegaFest in the Love and Dating session in front of a gazillion people, girls, is I said the biggest difference between us and the world is we cannot afford to leave God out of this process. As believers and as women of faith, you've got to include God in this process. And what sets us apart from the world, here's the thing. You need to stop taking worldly advice when it comes to dating, because it's never going to be a fit for you. You're not of the world. You live by a different set of standards, a different set of rules. There's a whole different set of rules for us that do not apply to the world. Why? Because you're God's chosen, because you're God's called, because you're God's anointed, because we are the righteousness of God, because we are special to God. And so it literally is so important that you understand God is going to use your desire for love to bring you into closer relationship with him. He's going to use your desire for a husband to bring about clarity in your identity and in your purpose and in what you're supposed to do. He's going to say, you want it, baby? Come on this way. Follow me. Come on. He's dangling the little carrot out here saying, come this way, sweetheart. I've got abundant life for you. It's right down this road. Come on down here. I got this for you. But you got to come through me to get what you desire, because we're believers. We're not of the world. It's not signing up to who's best for the job, right? It's about soulmate love. It's about purpose partners. It's about literally your divine destiny. So it's so important that you realize you're special and you're different, because the rules don't apply to you that apply to the world. And so it's so important that you begin to invite God into this process to say, God, show me. So for those of you who get to the point you're healed, you're ready to date, you're getting out here, you're meeting people, honey, listen, you better be using your discernment. You can't move too fast. You've got to be willing to listen to God and listen to the nudges. I used to pray when I was in, God, show me. I was so tired of the counterfeits. I'm like, God, just show me early. I just need you to show me early. I knew very early on that Mr. Pope was it for me, because I'd ask God. He will give you whatever you ask. You want to hear? Ask him to open up your ears to hear. Ask him to open up your understanding. Ask him to give you dreams so that he can speak to you in your sleep and you can wake up with a knowledge and an understanding and a direction to go in and say that, no. I know I'm waking up this morning in my right mind. God spoke to me. He gave me that dream for me to understand that man ain't no good. It don't matter how good he look. It don't matter what he's talking. That's not for me. And I'm going to leave it alone, because I'm going to be obedient, because if I'm asking for the guidance, I'm going to be willing to listen to it. You got to be willing to listen to it, or he will stop speaking. He will stop guiding you, right? Once again, you grown, honey. He going to let you do whatever you want to do. It's either his way or your way, but it's not going to be both. It's not going to be both. It's his way or your way, and you're going to have to choose. It's a choice. And you've got to be able, listen, God is orderly and he's methodical. and he's a processing God. In other words, nothing happens as fast as we want it to when it comes to God, because God is methodical, consistent. And what he does is he's working on you and preparing you. And even in the dating process, he's using it to train you and discipline you. And the thing is moving fast and being loud, you'll miss God. You will miss God entirely if you're moving fast and you're loud. You've got to get still. You've got to create the discipline of meditation and peace in your life so that God can nudge you and guide you and order your steps. You've got to incorporate this into your dating so that as you're sitting on a date, he could be sitting there talking, and just as clearly, you'll be able to hear God speak to you and give you insight on who he really is. You'll be able to discern where he's at in life, if he's ready or not, his heart. You'll be able to see through him, to see the heart of the matter of who he really is, to determine if that's even a fit for you to go on a second or third date. God will do it for you. You have to ask, but it's sharpening your spiritual tools, your spiritual gifts, your discernment, your anointing, your calling, so that it affects every area of your life, right? He's going to use it to stretch you and grow you, because that's who you need to be in order to be ready for the man that God has for you. I don't know about y'all. I don't need no boys. I want me a grown man, mature in God, spiritual and loving and kind and funny. I wanted a man. Right? And what had always been missing in my life is a man of God. I dated businessmen, I dated boss men, I did all these things. They were never Mr. Pope, because they were never the man of God that I needed to match me spiritually, because all along the way, God was blocking the knuckleheads that I would have even chosen. He blocked it. Block, 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 block. No, 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 no. Block, 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 block. No, 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 no. Why? Because God knew, he knows who I am from the beginning of the earth, from the moment I took my first breath. He knows who I am. I didn't know. You don't know completely who you are. It's still being revealed to you. It's revealed over time. And so as you come into the knowledge, so if you seek God first, God will bring the man. He'll bring the man. It's just going to happen. It's inevitable, because it, like I say, our default life is abundant life. If you will get out of your own way, everything you desire is coming to you in the form of abundance. You're not in control of the how, but the outcome is joy, peace, love, health, wealth, purpose, and peace. That is the outcome. Okay? So, one of the things I really want to make clear tonight is that, one, ditching your list is synonymous with surrender. Two, get out of your own way, because you've got to surrender this, because this is how we as believers and women of faith have to approach this. We're different from the world. Your girlfriend's out here doing whatever. Look, they can have their little laundry list and keep evaluating men according to their little laundry list. The only thing that should be on your list is love. And leave the details to God, because he knows you better than you know yourself. One of the things that I emphasize over and over again, girls, is that I could have never ordered up Mr. Pope with enough detail to fit who this man is for me. I had never experienced it. So how can you ask for something that you've never experienced? He fits me in ways that I didn't even know I needed, because that's what God will do for you. When God is your matchmaker and God is looking out for you, when God does it for you, it literally matches you in such small and intricate ways you didn't even know that was possible. You didn't even know. I didn't even know I needed that. Wow. Because you never experienced it. You didn't even know you needed it until you have it and you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. This is the bomb, right? This is so perfect. And so neither of you will be perfect, but you'll be perfect for each other. Perfect for each other. So how does this practical? Let me give you an example because I want you to practice this because I really want to leave you with this tonight. This is crucial. So when it comes to your words and your thoughts, in other words, the meditations of your heart and the deliberations of your mind, okay? When it comes to this, you've got to be able to turn your thoughts and your words to what you really want to manifest. And what is that? Love. How do I do that, Rebecca? Here's how you do that. You start retraining your brain and your mouth that when you start talking about what you want and what it's gotta be, instead of those things of saying, oh, it's gotta be 6'2" and he needs to be fit and I need to have wealthy and he needs to be the car and I want you to start retraining yourself to say, I want love. I can't wait for love to show up. I can't wait for this man that's going to love me from my head to my toes. I can't wait for God to bring the love of my life. I just know it's going to rock my world. I'm so excited. I can't wait. God has got this wonderful love for me. And look, he going to love me so good. So describe the love. Describe how he makes you feel. Describe exactly how he treats you. Leave all the other stuff blank. Leave all the other stuff blank. If you have to try to picture him in your mind to do your visualization, just imagine it's blurry. It's blurry. You don't know what he looks like. You don't know exactly what he looks like, but you know he's a man. You know he's a good man. And you know he's going to love you. So begin to visualize and affirm love. Love. Not all the details you think. This is, girls, I hope someone's listening to me tonight. You've been manifesting all the predominant other stuff you've been saying you want. I know you have. That's what I was doing too. Here's a different way to do it. Begin to manifest love instead of manifesting requirements. Because you can keep manifesting those requirements over and over and over again, girls, and it's still never love. Because your predominant manifestation, your predominant feelings and emotions and focus is on the requirements. Yes, and if we are loved, that will also help to attract it. Exactly. Yes, love yourself, love your life, create a life that you love. Get busy, living, enjoying your friends, enjoying your purpose, doing everything intentionally, and just know that you know as you're dating, doing it with patience, that God is bringing you love. So this is how you take your hands off of it and you trust God. When you start talking, and it's going to take some retraining, girls. Retrain your brain for love. That's right, Pam. It's going to take some practice. It's going to take some training. You don't realize it, but you've been so indoctrinated for so long with culture, with the world, with, antiquated traditional gender roles, and all the things we're fed to say a real man is this and a real man is that. And if he really loves you, he'll be this. And we're fed all this stuff constantly, when in reality, true love comes from God. True mutual love comes from God. God is in it. So if all you do is focus on love, 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 love. So you've got to start saying love. You got to start speaking love. You need to go to sleep, visualizing and imagining yourself in complete love bliss. Imagine and see yourself fulfilled as a wife, happy, enjoying life with your companion, laughing and being silly and having fun doing nothing and taking trips together and just having your best friend, and start describing what you really, really need it to be. Not all this other stuff. And I promise you, now this is my promise to those of you who are really afraid to ditch the list. God is not going to give you anything that will make you unhappy. He is not going to give you anything that you're not going to like. He's not going to give you anything that's not fulfilling to you. This man that he has for you is wonderful and perfect for you in every way. You just don't know it yet. You just don't know it yet. So I want you to have comfort to understand that your Father knows you better than you know yourself. And so he's got someone for you that's absolutely wonderful. He is amazing. And he's just for you. And I don't care what path you go down, God has a soulmate for you. For those of you who have worried you missed out, for those of you who are worried, I hear it all the time, I'm afraid that love got by me. I'm afraid that I messed it up. I'm afraid that, I did something wrong and I missed out on love. No, honey, you have not. Any path you take in life, God has got love for you down that path. Any path you take, that is the God we serve. Okay, anybody have any questions before we get off of here for tonight? Any specific questions you have for me before we get off tonight? I hope that helps you to be a little bit more specific about how you should be going about dating and ditching the list going forward. You're welcome, Trina. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. Any specific questions, girls, about ditching the list or about dating before we get off of here? You're welcome, Jennifer. Oh, listen, for those of you guys who have stayed on, I have a special sale in the Godly Girls Glam store for the next 10 women that purchase something in the store. Thank you, Terry. The next 10 women that purchase something at godlygirlsglam.com are going to get a free tote. The next 10 women who purchase something at the Godly Girls Glam store get a free tote. What questions do we ask the men? Vetting questions about their spirituality, about their purpose, about their goals. These are the kind of questions you want to know about knowing if it's a fit for you. Knowing about if someone's compatible with you. Things that are very important. You're welcome, girls. You're welcome. You're welcome. So godlygirlsglam.com, the next 10 orders, you get a free tote. Just FYI. Next 10 orders, get a free tote. That's my giveaway for tonight for those of you who tuned in. Is it bad that I never had a list? I know we're talking about ditching it, but no, it's not bad. Kier, you might be one of those people who hasn't been picky enough. Because at the end of the day, sometimes if you don't have certain standards, right? If you don't set standards to say love, respect, right? If there's not certain things in place to say, I need to be treated a certain way. I have to be respected a certain way. He's got to adhere to these boundaries. Then that in and of itself is how we tend to fall into not having a list at all. And that would be one of my questions for you. Does this include vision boards that have an ideal? Yes. Especially vision boards. If you got pictures of Idris Elba on your vision board and you think that that's what God has for you, but you don't know that. So you could be focusing on the wrong things. So yeah, you have to be careful about visualization, something very specific, because you're edging God out. Ego, edging God out, right? Those are the kind of things that our egos produce because of what we want in our flesh. When is the appropriate time to start dating from a breakup or divorce or whatever? When you're healed is the appropriate time. Do not date when you're hurting. Do not date when you're hurting. Do not date when you're in recovery. Do not date when you are not yourself and you're angry or you're hurt. That's how you know you're ready to date. He just is going to marry me after all these women take him off their list, right? George is like, I got it. I got him. He's next. So, listen, girls, it's so important that you remember that you're different. You mentioned the things that a man will do that will show you he's the one. Can you mention those things again, please? Consistency, respect, honoring you, being your best friend, being able to communicate about anything and talk about anything, being there for you, being dependable, there for you in a tight spot, showing you that he cares, showing you that he's showing up and he's consistent. not running from the hard conversations, not running from the spiritual conversations to where you can share your spirituality and share your faith. Any man who runs from those conversations and cannot share common faith with you and have a conversation that sparks excitement in him about God means that you don't share that with each other. Talk about intentions, consistent communication, adding these to my list, right? Because those are more basic. You can have really basic standards like respect and honor, right? His character, his integrity, being honest, because those things describe God. So you're safe when it comes to things that describe the nature of God, because that's the man we want. He's going to be have a character because he has sought God for himself. He's mature. He's responsible. He's spiritual. So just like we begin to resemble God more and more as we are prepared to be wives and prepared to walk in purpose and an abundant life, he's being prepared as well. So yeah, if there's any characteristics you should be trying to think about, it's going to be the characteristics of God. Because honey, let me tell you something. I don't care how fine a man is. He cannot beat the man that loves you. A fine man who's a dog and treats you wrong is not what you want. You want a man who is going to love you to pieces. How do you work on your healing process after a breakup? You take my healing course. You take my healing course. You can inbox me, hun, about the healing course, and I can let you know about it so you can take that as well. Hey, so true. Yeah, you need help healing. I mean, healing is not easy on your own. It's really not. It took me a long time to heal. It took the healing course that I wrote was from my own experiences with God and my own processing, but it took me longer because it was just me and God, and I didn't have the help that I really needed. And so as I started to get more help, I processed faster, but that's why I created it. My website is RebeccaLynnPope.com. You can message me on there for more information about the healing course. My website's still getting more updated. It's a new site, but you can go to RebeccaLynnPope.com. RebeccaLynnPope.com. Take the course, right? Take the course. It's awesome. It's absolutely anointed. It came from God. I don't even take credit for it. So yeah, you can take the course. It's absolutely awesome. It helps so much. It's not easy. It took me almost 4 years to heal after my divorce, Sherry says. Yep, it can take time. But the time it takes to heal is really dependent upon the resources, the help, and your readiness. So it's not so much about time as it is about really sowing into your healing, seeking healing, and being open for healing. That's what's more important. Vanessa said, take the course. It seems like when I decided 4 years ago to do it God's way, no fornicating, drinking, clubbing, cussing, etc. It appears I do not get any flirts or dates. Help. I am truly healed and happy in my... Ooh, I'm trying to see. Happy in my life. Well, you probably aren't knowing how to date. Most women do not know how to date, Tatanisha. So reach out to me at RebeccaLynnPope.com. We can talk about that as well. Because most women do not know how to date, and dating is very difficult, especially women of faith. This is why I wrote my book, because women need help learning how to date. Women need help knowing what to do. So it's so important that you realize that, you've got to get out there and date. You've got to be able to have prospects. You've got to be able to have options, because what happens with a lot of the time with women of faith is that we don't know we have options. We feel like there's not a lot of men because we don't know how to connect with them. And so then, like, the first guy that comes along, awesome, Jennifer, I look forward to hearing from you. The first man that comes along, girls, you're like, oh, he's got to be the one. It is. The book's available on the site. It's at RebeccaLynnPope.com. It'll take you to a link for the book at RebeccaLynnPope.com. So, right, we, as women of faith, we have to learn how to date, because the problem is just like what I was saying before, is we have our mind so set on something, but then we're not out dating. And because we're not dating, we fall vulnerable to some of the miscellaneous random dudes that come along that we do happen to meet that tend to never be the one, and we get hurt. And it's simply because, and truthfully, we're a little desperate. You know, you don't really own that or own up to it, but at the end of the day, most of the time you have a feeling like you don't have a lot of options, or you have the feeling like, you know, it's supposed to be easy and you're supposed to just meet someone and fall head over heels, and you don't have to be dating multiple people. Do I really have to go through all that? And you don't want to do it because you want it to be like it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago, or whatever. And that's just not the times we live in. So learning how to become a good dater is really, really good for women of faith, because we have to come ahead and adapt to the 21st century. We've got to come on forward and learn what to do so that we don't get hurt and disappointed by lowering our guard and getting involved with these men that are not for us. So we have to learn how to vet and qualify. I can admit that's how I was previously. So I failed into a relationship that was not healthy. Exactly, honey. And that's most of us. I wrote this book because I'm so tired of good women, good girls, women of faith being taken advantage of because you just don't know the rules of engagement. You just don't know what to do because you're playing by an antiquated set of rules in an honor system that doesn't exist anymore. And so we get taken advantage of, we get our hearts broken and you know, over and over and over again because we don't know the rules. We don't know how all of this works. And so we'll try to get the advice from the world, but that doesn't really fit us because we're women of faith and we're believers. You know, so it's a vicious cycle. And at the end of the day, you don't know what to do because you're trying to adapt to the world, but you still have to be you. So it's a balancing act. So you have to learn what to do. You have to learn the rules of engagement while still keeping those cookies in the cookie jar, remaining abstinent, learning how to date without having sex, learning how to date without moving too fast and putting all your eggs in one basket before you've even vetted and qualified a man to have that position in your life. You've got to be able to learn patience. You've got to be able to learn how to do it. Oh, who said that? Oh, thank you, Selena. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the other thing, girls, before I go, Divine Dreamers Circle is going to be opening up for membership soon. I'm so excited. I have lots of announcements for that coming up. So the Divine Dreamers Circle is going to be opening up for membership. What is the Divine Dreamers Circle? Divine Dreamers Circle is my personal coaching group. It's my little tribe within a tribe. In other words, it's accountability. It is all about sisterhood and accountability. It's for people going to the next level. If you want to activate your dreams, you want abundant life, you want to pursue your purpose, you want to pursue peace, you want to learn how to meditate, you want to take better care of yourself, you want to write your book, you want to pursue the things of God that He has for you, and you want to accomplish and attain abundant life. In other words, you want to be on that path and you want to be held accountable for it. You want to be part of a community that's all people who are women who are going after their goals, women who are pursuing their interests and their passions, women who are surrendering and giving their life to God every day. Then Divine Dreamer Circle is for you. Okay, so you're going to get more about that coming up because we're going to be announcing open membership very soon. We have some wonderful things going on with that. So I can't wait. I'm super excited. And many of you need it. You need the daily accountability. You need the help. Oh, thank you, Renee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do get a lot more in depth in the circle. I do. Divine Dreamer Divas, right? That's right, Vanessa. Woo, woo. The DDs. So yeah, the Divine Circle is absolutely awesome. I get a lot more in depth about business, about our daily struggles, how to overcome, how to do it. You know, actually practical coaching and guidance for living an abundant life. Tatanisha, it'll be announced. You'll be able to see it. There's a page you'll go to sign up, and there's options as far as the fees and what you want to get out of it. So I'll be sharing that soon, hun. The website's getting updated as well. So we'll be launching that soon, girls. Membership will be opening. We have so much to share and so much going on, and I can't wait. So remember, first 10 orders in godlygirlsglam.com gets a free tote. So go snatch it up. Go get your t-shirt or a tank, and you'll get a tote as well. Love you, girls. And we'll have Girl Talk next Tuesday as well. So stay tuned for next week's subject. I can't wait. We'll have another really, really fabulous time on next Tuesday night. This is going to be our established night to tune in and have Girl Talk. Love you. Love you, girls. Talk to you soon.